10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
What is We're on here together. I know why. Competition Plus Power Hour Dirty 30 edition. What do you think of that, Lee? We're on here together on the Dirty 30.
Yes, and we're both in our 30s. I'm actually the senior 30 here, I will say, but nonetheless. Sorry for everybody's got slow going there, folks. So for some reason, hit the button and the computer decided to try to load something. So if it was a little wonky at the start, well, sorry, it happens. It's live.
Oh, it's all Lee's fault.
It is. I'll take it.
Oh, hey, Lee, you got to switch us. We're on the wrong side. They're already complaining.
Okay. Hang on. Let me move. Let me move.
There you go. There you go. There we go. Okay.
Swoosh.
What's up, race fans? It is the Dirty 30 episode of the Competition Plus Power Hour. We're on the right side, so now we can officially start the show. Lee.
We can. Hey, look, let me chime in first. Everybody's already been commenting before the show. We appreciate that, guys. And hit that like button, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, share it and retweet if you're watching on Twitter. We'd love to see you chime in if you're watching on Twitter Periscope. But Joe Florkey Gaming says, I can't wait for this episode to get started. Should be a good one. Joel, chime in if you're still watching. Let us know what you are gaming on. To love to know. And Lou chimes in. Almost showtime. Oh, it's showtime now. Going Bracket Racing, guys. Check out the Going Bracket Racing channel. They say what's up. Stan says what's up. Don says hey Lee and Sam. And Flash Dunk Racing. Gotta love that name. Flash Dunk Racing.
Dude, wait. We're not. Speaking of that, have you watched some of that dunk racing that they do? I mean, unreal. Like 22s, 23s, 30-inch freaking, like, dude, it's unreal. Put an LS motor in it. Most of these guys put LS motors in everything. And they're racing this, like, on rubber bands of tires. So, I mean, if you haven't checked out any dunk racing, like I said, Lee and I like all type of racing, but, you know, we cater a little bit. But I'm just saying, this dunk racing, pretty interesting. I want to see, man. You know who I want to see? I want to see the jeweler rocking some of his gold chains in one of those, trying to drive it down the track. I think that'd be pretty good.
Hey, cigar in one side, just, you know, wheel standing. I can see him doing it, man. I can see him doing it. How many chains do you think he'd have to wear? Like, how much jewelry would he have to wear to pull that one off? I want Mr. T level. That's how much I want. Mr. T up around his neck.
I think he's missing it up top. I could lend him some hair. Well, hey, enough talking about him. He's probably going to get mad at us for saying all this, but I think, check out that donk racing. All right, go back to the comments.
Right. So donk racing, check that out. We've got, let's explain this. So, Stan, he chimes in, is okay with Dan taking top bill for tonight's show. Well, Stan, actually, even though someone may be first, we don't really consider it whether they're as if they're being top bill or not. Just how they get slotted. We have nothing with the booking. We just get on this show and open our mouths. But whoever we get, that's who we get, and we don't even really look at it as, oh, these guys are first, and therefore they have preeminence. So we're just glad to have whoever comes on the show. It's amazing. They come on with us.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no this person or this person. Sometimes it's due to timing, what they've got going on in their life. You remember everyone that's out there, these people that we're talking to still have regular, normal lives. They have families, and that's the stuff that Lee and I want to dive into is their personal stuff. We talk racing all the time, but, you know, let's dive into who they are, you know, outside the track, get to know them a little bit more. And that only helps you as a fan and a spectator when you go to their pits and you want to talk to them. It's not just that awkward conversation of, oh, I've I met you at this racetrack and I talked to you here, here, and here, you actually can, connect to them, talk to them about golf. Maybe if you come in and talk to them about golf or football or whatever other sports that they like or can, connect with them with, that may take that edge off of that race weekend. You never know, what's going on or what's in their head. And for those, 2 minutes or whatever, you can get them to talk about something else. So that's why. And like I said, we don't, we never know. So no one's first and no one's second. What else do we got, Lee?
No one's first, no one's second. Well, you talked about
winners and losers.
Racing.
There are winners.
There are winners and losers. Hey, look at this. Pittsburgh loves you guys. Let me say this. If we're talking about Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I love Pittsburgh. Great town. Very cool town. Great ballpark. P&G ballpark there where the Pittsburgh Pirates play. Love that ballpark. And what is it? Pimini Brothers? Great sandwiches. Love it. Thank you for chiming in from Pittsburgh.
I'm not really a Pittsburgh fan right now. So, just saying.
Oh, sorry.
But I appreciate you guys for loving us because on this show we can be friends and we'll love you too. But when it comes to football, yeah, sorry. Slightly.
Okay, yes, I understand that.
Yeah. Hey, our friend Darren from American Hot Rod ENT, he's on here. And the geezer, Roger, the best photographer in the land, he's on there too. What's up? You're leaving for Epping already? Must be nice. You guys are going to Epping, and I'm going to California. I may see Darren while I'm out there. I'm not going to Epping, but I'm going to California.
Lobsterland. So
California, in and out.
Let's talk about Epping. Let's go ahead and talk about that. Some folks are wanting to mention that. Stan's mentioned it that, hey, we're going to apparently have some header flames at Epping. That's going to be cool. The weather looks like it is going to be stellar for that particular session. So may very well find brand new records set for that particular track in Epping, New Hampshire. I want to say this about the facilities at Epping. Epping is an old school track. You go back, you feel like you've gone back in time, like early 90s, maybe late 80s. But for an old school track that is not the nicest facility in the world, I want to give the folks there at New England Dragway credit. I was there the last time NHRA was there, and I felt, go out of their way to accommodate for drag racing fans. So if you have never been to Epping, New Hampshire, you have not been to a national event there, I highly recommend get to Epping, New Hampshire, catch a drag race there. Look, don't worry about whether car counts are low. Don't worry about whether this class or that class is not there. Go there to enjoy drag racing. So if you haven't got a ticket yet, if you haven't made plans, if you got some time and you just haven't put it in your schedule, put it in your schedule tonight. Go do it after Power Hour and get to Epping, New Hampshire and have a lobster roll because I told you so.
Wow, Lee, you're just telling the people what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. But I like it because they need to get to these events. We need people to show that NHRA, again, here goes, NHRA is very comparable to the stick and ball sports. There, done. I said it. I have to say it on every episode. I said it, Lee. It's off my chest. I think we're good now. But I like to see, the fan interaction when people get to meet, the drivers. Perfect example is Ron. He's coming on tonight. And in Texas, last time I saw him, he was just normally walking around the pits. And people, it's just weird to see because people are like, oh, my God, that's Ron Capps. Oh, my God. Like, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen out there, if you ever see one of these drivers, the only thing they want you to do is act like a normal human being. Like, we get it. You may get starstruck or anything like that, but go up to them. Say hi. They understand you want a picture, but they understand you want an autograph. But there's some times when you may catch them walking around and doing, absolutely, I don't want to say nothing, but absolutely nothing. So there'll be a video of kind of my interaction in Texas that I'll be posting. I've getting that out. But please go up to these drivers and say hi, say how's it going. And I'm guaranteeing you, unless they're in the middle of something, they will stop and give you, the time of the day. Right, Lee? Unless you're wearing sunglasses.
No, unless you're the jeweler, because you just keep walking then. That's
man, dude, I'm going to tell you guys this right now. And I know we're yakking about absolutely nothing, but here it goes. If you ever see Jeff Arend, a.k.a., which everyone in the pits now knows him as, the jeweler, please yell, "The jeweler," as loud as you possibly can so he hears you. And he's going to stop and look and be like, who just said that? And when he says that, give him like one of those big, like, hey, how's it going? Waves. And I guarantee you, he will look at you, put his head down, shake his head, and continue to walk like he's got a million things on his mind. Because that is our pit insider, Jeff Arend, a.k.a. the jeweler. That's how he rolls, Lee. It's bad.
That's how he rolls.
I thought we were friends.
Mikey chimes in. Great point with Epping. Go sit on the hill. So, yeah, they have this great hill you can go sit on and watch drag racing. It's kind of toward the end of the track. One of the coolest views in the sport. I highly agree. Go sit on the hill. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of, I'm familiar with Clemson University, and they have the hill in college football, and you can put your blanket out there and watch the football game from the hill. It's usually a little cheaper on ticket price. I don't know about that is the situation with Epping, but nonetheless, going and sitting on the hill, very cool perspective at that track.
Yeah, that's an awesome thing to bring up. And, what are the other things that you out there, you guys, in the comments, let us know what you like about these tracks that are coming up. There's a lot of different stuff coming up. So we definitely want to hear from you guys, seeing what you guys like about each track. What makes each track unique to you guys?
Yeah, while we're on tracks, maybe even chime in what makes your local track unique. What makes your local track to you home? What is it? I remember Ware Shoals Dragway in Ware Shoals, South Carolina. The concessions at that track were awesome. A hamburger done. What?
Lee, not everything's about food and racetracks, okay?
It's very important. You got to eat. It's very important.
You do. It's all right, Lee. I do. Hey, if you watch any of my stuff on Outlaw Performance ENT, or if you go over to Slammin Sam, that's kind of my personal page that I have fun on. I do a review every time I go to a different racetrack. There's a few spots that I like to hit up, like Chick-fil-A. If I go to California, In-N-Out, Mexican food, Jamba Juice, different things like that. But I do a review of whatever I order from whatever place I go. I just do a little quick review, and I'm like, hey, this is what I ordered. This is why I ordered. So now let's roll up. Let's see the interaction with whoever it is. So, Lee, I understand your standpoint of going to different racetracks and what food they choose.
Right. It matters. It matters.
It does matter. Someone asked, where am I going in California down here? Where are you going in California? I will be, my little sister graduates from high school, and she accepted a offer to LSU. So I will be going to watch my baby sister graduate high school. She's the last of what we call the dying breed of our family. It's just an inside joke, but I'm going to watch her graduate. And so I will be in LA and San Diego area. So if there's some racetrack that you guys need the Slammin Sam to come to, man, just let me know. I'll be there. Be there Thursday, leave on Sunday. So hopefully I don't get stuck in an airport, because I don't know where we would land this time, Lee.
Right. You don't want to do 9 laps again and go back to Minnesota. I feel sorry for you, man. I'm
flying from Vegas. So if we got to come back to Vegas, that's a long haul.
That would be a long haul. Michael says Keystone Dragway is his home. Don says he's going to be at Norwalk later on for the NHRA national event. And Todd, shout out to Todd Untz, him and his brother, they have top dragsters. One of their top dragsters actually won best appearing car at ZMAX Dragway for the last NHRA national event that was there. But he chimes in. Great point, Todd. Virginia Dragway, Giuseppe's. No, I'm not saying that right. It's Italian restaurant. It's just before the track. Okay, little Italian restaurant. So good. It's so good. It's so good.
Okay,
yeah, it's so good.
Just what's the best thing to eat there? Like,
dude, it is all good. Like, look, I highly recommend. Oh well, no. You can't do keto there. You can't do keto there. Forget. You gotta take the day off of keto, and you got to get the sampler. That's what you've got to get. Everything from Italia. Yes, it's just what you got to do. It's what you got to do.
All right. Well, but see, if I eat all that, will I still have room for ice cream?
I do.
You gotta have dessert. Like, you know, what's the good dessert for them? I don't know. Like, that's what we need. We have to have both parts. Like, I'm gonna need a good meal and
a few other folks are chiming in. Lubbock Dragway as their local track, and yes, I'm sure we're making many of you hungry. And before we bring Jeff on, Sticktron. All right, I think I got it right. They said that they are building a track in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I've heard those rumors as well. It would be great if a new facility, a high-class premier facility comes along, especially in that area, because, you know, when the Cajun Nationals went away, that region doesn't really have much going on as far as a national presence. If this particular track ever comes about and could hold a national event, I think that would be pretty cool. Pretty cool. You know, speaking of
tracks, before you go there, we are getting a new track in the North Dakota region. I mean, it's big news, right? Like, we always hear there's tracks closing. They're actually building a track out here, so it's huge for us. So I'm
good news,
super
man.
excited about that. News. But hey, we've rambled about absolutely nothing at the beginning of the show, and food and all this other stuff. But that's good, because the people are getting to know what we like, and that's
drag racing
and food.
Drag racing is more than cars just going down the track. We're all humans. We got to eat. We enjoy food. We enjoy racing. We enjoy particular things about different tracks. I mean, it's all part of it. It is. And we also like the jeweler. And we're going to bring him on right after this commercial. Folks,
it's time.
It is time. Competition Plus Apparel. Let me say this. We're going to show this commercial. It's always our first commercial. We know it. But we want you to go to the store. Go to Competition Plus Apparel. You can find it through competitionplus.com. Go find it. Do you know why? We are now carrying driver T-shirts, even old school driver T-shirts. There's a Scotty Cannon T-shirt that you can get. Once again, that's way cool.
Hey,
Competition Plus
before
Apparel.
we go to that, Lee, in the comments, so Bobby Bennett can see it, please let Bobby know that you want a Slammin Sam and Monday Morning Racer Power Hour T-shirt. Please.
Yes,
if you guys think that we need a Power Hour T-shirt with Jeff Arend, like, holding a big, like, jewelry chain, or I don't know what he'd be holding, and a cigar in his other hand. But yes, if you guys think that we need a Power Hour T-shirt, please flood the comments so we can let Bobby know. But Lee, take it to that commercial.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
It's time for the jeweler.
Yeah. Having so much fun listening to you guys. Like, I'm going to be driving donks, Coors Light in one hand, cigar in the other, gold steering wheel, gold-plated chain steering wheel. Be all over it.
Hey, why? If the people want it, why not do it? That's what we're here for.
Can you drink a Coors Light while you drive a donk? That's what I want to know.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm not going to say it probably never been done before.
Yeah, one hand out the window with a cigar, the other hand with a Coors Light, steer with the gold chain and wheel with my knee. It'd be all good.
Yeah, you're definitely not doing that in a funny car.
Not usually, but some people are.
Jeff, what in the world do you have for us tonight?
You already touched on it, like Epping. That's all I was going to say. Bye.
Oh, there we go. We're done. We're done. Folks, thank you. Jeff Arend, he's out. No.
Peace out. Now, like you were talking about Epping, I remember the first time we went there for the national event. I'm not lying. We showed up there a little bit early, and they were clearing the cows out of the pits. I mean, this place probably hadn't seen a national event, if ever, but a big event in a long, long time. But like you said, the people there that run the track, awesome. I mean, got great food there. Get some lobster, what's a funny car. And they were good. It's just, good hometown feel when you go there. Definitely a lot of fun. Like I said, we don't really have huge fields there, but there's going to be some great weather, some nighttime running there. I expect to see some really good runs. I mean, you might see some 360s in top fuel and maybe some mid 380s in funny car. Definitely looking forward to that. And like I said, if you're in the area or not even in the area, you got to go there and check it out at least one time. It's a whole different feel for an Nhra national event.
It really is. And look, I want to focus on the positives, but I do want to ask, when you look at the fields for funny car and top fuel, they are low compared to other events this year. Why is that with Epping? That happened the last time I was there. Is it just that the teams just think it's that far away, or maybe even in the Northeast, you just don't have that many fuel cars? I mean, when I think of the Northeast, the only one that does come to mind is, well, the New Englander when the funny car ranks.
Yeah, and they're going to be there. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's, it's a great track, like you said, but geographically for a lot of the teams, especially, there's a lot of funny car teams kind of in Texas or in the Midwest. It's just a long, long way to go. And not another race back to back. Like, I almost think it'd be better if they scheduled something the week after, not that far away. So you're going to make the trip up for 2 races instead of 1. But I think that's really the biggest thing. There's not a lot of funny cars in that area. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of touring cars in either class right now that go to every single race. But we are blessed to have a lot of independents, and that's what the people that you talk to all the time in the pits, the people on our show, they want to see the independents out there, and we've been pretty lucky this year that we've seen lots of them. I just think the New England track is just a little far away for a lot of the teams to come out for a single race.
Gotcha. Do you think we would have had a better turnout if VMP would not have been moved?
Yeah, I would think so. And VMP is another great facility to go to. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. I imagine it's got to do something with COVID or with the amount of people they could have in there. And, when you own your own track and if you're limited to, 30% or 50%, that's a pretty big deal because it costs a lot of money to put a national event on. And I think you're right. I think if we had those 2 races together, I think we would have seen the car counts definitely higher.
All right. See, insider information. He has more than he even thought that he would give tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, all my stuff that I have questions for is weighting more towards the Western swing, as we call it. I mean, that part of the year's got to be so crazy for everyone. I was going through my schedule today, writing it all down of, month by month. So I've got a lot of questions for you in that time frame. So everybody needs to fill the inbox that we have set up, our Gmail account, and that is powerhourcp@gmail.com, powerhourcp@gmail.com. If you ever have any questions for the jeweler or Lee or myself, or maybe even Bobby Bennett, please send those in. We read them, and that way we can get them to Jeff, and he can answer all those questions that you may have. We try to get him some comments out of the comments that pop in. But, hey, if you ever want something and you want the good, juicy jeweler information, he'll take out his Rolex cleaning tools, fine polishes answers, and bring them to you live here on the Power Hour.
I love it.
There we go.
You see what I did there?
Oh yeah.
Yes, right.
Crafty.
Well, Jeff, look, thank you for your insider information. Enjoy the rest of the show and being there poolside, apparently.
Yeah, just hanging out in the backyard. So all good.
All right. Thank you,
that's
sir.
a different view.
All right, take care, guys. See you later.
All right. Man, I don't think he was really.
Jeff come by.
I don't think he was really too excited about us telling the secrets of how to call the jeweler when they're at the racetrack.
Yeah.
Okay, question right here. Do you see that?
We just missed him for him to answer that question. It was in like the first or second episode, if I remember correctly. But it's an old nickname because his family was involved in jewelry. His dad apparently.
Yeah. If you want to go back, you can. Yeah, you can go back on YouTube and you can watch that back, or like I'll say at the end of the show, you can listen to all of these episodes back on all your major podcast forums like Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and that's all under Power Hour. So Competition Plus Power, you can listen to them all back so there you go. You can go back and we dive into why we call Jeff Arend.
Yeah. Randy Pettit. If you don't know this guy, check out Rattling the Roll Cage YouTube channel. He is racing's greatest showman. If you ever heard of Bowman Gray Stadium Racing, that's the announcer right there.
Greatest of all time.
Right here. That's right. I mean,
Geez, Lee, you got superstars, popping in.
I know. Hey, look, that's who hangs out at strutmasters.com. It's superstars. That's who hangs out.
Only the best.
Right.
Huh?
That's right.
Must be nice. Lee, what's going on in the world of racing so we can dive into a little bit of race car action?
Good day, mate. That's what's going on. So the Aussies down under, they're going to have, their U.S. Nationals, you could say, this weekend. Gulf Western Oil Winter Nationals at Willowbank Raceway. That's this weekend. So Top Fuel is on tap. Pro Slammer. I love how they just say Pro Slammer. Look at this Holden. Look at this thing with a supercharger out of it. That is just a good looking hot rod down there, racing down under.
I don't know the wing. I don't know about the wing.
I like it. Get wing and all. I love it. And then Pro Stock. If I'm not mistaken, they run very similar to Mountain Motor Pro Stock down there. Great looking Pontiac Grand Prix there, but they are kicking off their big race this weekend. And folks, if you think it's rough in the States, well, they only have 3 top fuelers showing up. 3. That's not normal for them. They got to come back up to speed after COVID. It really hurt them, I think, even more than it did us. But this weekend, you get to at least see 12 top fuelers at Epping, not 3. So my best wishes to those down under that those fields grow and we get some more top fuelers down there. But realize how blessed you are in the racing world.
Of course. I mean, we can always talk about that. So here it is, everyone. Jeff Arend has officially made the comment that if you were going to yell the jeweler at the racetrack, please have a cool Coors Light for him. So there you go. Yeah. If you ever want to yell.
Look, I know he loves his Coors Light, but he's about to get more than he ever can handle at the racetrack.
Yeah, Jeff, I think Jeff is now going to need a backpack to put all his Coors Lights in.
Yeah, there's going to be people. There's going to be people coming through the gates, and they're going to get checked. They're like, "Sir, you have a whole lot of Coors Light. Why are you bringing so much beer? This is just an anomaly. I mean, I know we're not really supposed to ask these questions, but all you have is Coors Light. Don't you need some water? No, this is for the jeweler, huh? Who's the the Jew? Oh, wow. Yes. There we go.
Hey,
there we go.
We're starting at Lee. How about the first no prep event? I'm
first
excited.
No prep event.
No prep. It's good. It's a good deal. Ryan Martin cleans house.
Yep. No prep kings. There has already been many no prep events already this year. Arguably the real no prep crowd. So you have these guys at Columbus Trail. They go out there. The Columbus Trail is a great raceway there in Columbus, and a great showing. Interesting winner. I don't think anybody was expecting that. I will say this: everything I hear though is Discovery Channel is very, very challenging to work with.
It's a weird. On what? You gonna see what you're gonna say?
Well, it's a very challenging. They're very challenging to work with as talent. I've learned that from personal connections. They're very challenging to work with as a track. Apparently, they're also very challenging to work with is if you are contributing content. And I can tell you from my own experience with my YouTube channel, Monday Morning Racer, they will put a copyright strike on your content that they have no right to, and you got to fight them.
Well, I have insight there. So one of my friends is the live event coordinator. If you go back to one of my early episodes on my podcast, I got to talk to put the respect on the name too, the Alyssa Noel. And she talks about, what it's like doing all that and having Discovery there. And you do, we see it every day. And, everyone goes live now on Facebook, and people are getting a lot of, media credentials per se, or, they say that they're media, and they just go live on Facebook, and they're getting a lot of views and a lot of hits on it. So they are cracking down in that standpoint. And if you are on the starting line or anything, kind of just like what we do with NHRA, you either have to have the credentials or you sign a waiver that says you will not post this information until after the, live event airs. And it's just a lot of different things that they go into, and they're just trying to protect their show. So I get what you're saying. I know you've had some incidents, Lee, where, you post something or you go out and do work on your own, and then someone kind of knocks down the door and say, hey, you don't have the rights to do this. So Discovery, at the end of the day, they're trying to protect what they've their cash cow right now. Because, let's be honest. I don't think too many of us are watching Deadliest Catch anymore.
I never watched Deadliest Catch. It wasn't my thing. Look, honestly, I haven't watched much on Discovery Channel since there wasn't a lot of Discovery anymore involved with it, except for like Shark Week. So it's kind of like the History Channel. I don't watch much of the History Channel anymore because there's not any history. So look, I will say this. Content creators and around motorsports and drag racing, I think we got to be careful that in motorsports and showing motorsports, we need to do that exact thing. We need to show racing, and we need to show the personalities around it. Something that frustrates me is fluffed up pre-race shows. Let's get to the point. Let's show the racing. Tell me what I need. Let's get to the racing and show that. I love tvracer.com. Guys, if you ever want to know when the race is actually going to start, like they're going to drop the green flag or all the red lights go blank, well, tvracer.com, I highly recommend it. It will give you the actual start time beyond the pre-race show. I highly recommend that. But yeah, man, look, we need to be careful. Stick to racing, talk about racing, the things around racing, and enjoy the sport of racing. So, Sam, look, we do got Mr. Hood is in the studio, and we need to bring him on.
One more thing. Greg Anderson, he's one win away from tying.
Don't say
Warren
it.
Johnson.
Don't.
No.
Oh.
What? Oh, okay. I won't say it. I will. Be quiet then. One win, though.
From Time the Professor.
GA, I think you can do it, buddy. I like red, but guess what? For this weekend, putting all my chips on blue.
There you go. Well, man, look, let's take a break.
First.
Let's take a break and bring on Mr. Danny Hood.
In the race for quality, there is no finish line. Jerry Bickle Race Cars is a one-stop chassis shop for drag racing performance parts and race components. For over 50 years, Jerry Bickle Race Cars has been an essential part of racers' plans for building world champion race cars. Our parts department is stocked with every part a racer might need. Log on to jerrybickle.com for more information. We build anything with doors. jerrybickle.com.
Mr. Hood, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys doing? You hear me?
Man, doing great. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
All right. We figured out these technologies.
Hey, love it and hate it at the same time. Technology.
What's a good word?
So, speaking of technology. Go ahead, Sam.
Go ahead, Lee.
Okay, fine. I'll go ahead. Sorry, Danny. This happens every now and then. Sorry. So, speaking of technology and going there and figuring things out, tell me right now on funny cars, what's a piece of technology that you love, but then you also love to hate when it goes wrong?
The good old computer. Even the computer in our trailer, it'll freak out on you, and you're like, "Oh no, what's going on?" So, technology, it's perfect sometimes, but then it'll freak out on you, and you got to figure it out. Just like this computer, I ran up to my kids' room because they're going bonkers downstairs, so it was like trying to get it hooked up on here. So, luckily, I made it.
We feel the same way. We barely make it in studio too, so we know how you feel.
Well, if you heard some of the pre-show, that's because Lee is trying to figure out and map out his plan of where he's going to go and eat at the next racetrack. So
yeah, it's important. It's important. Got to have those things planned.
Right. So we got to ask: is there a place that you look forward to that you like to eat at the different racetracks? Like, what's your favorite track to go to and meal at that place?
Yeah, you get your different spots throughout the tour where all the guys like to go. Like, we were just in Houston, so there's a good little Greek place we love to go to. Me and Austin Prock got Greek balls. They're shoes, you can eat them every night. Or we go up to Manchester up there. You got to get yourself a lobster roll, and then you go. It's cool to travel the country and just try different foods and stuff.
You see, Sam, that's one of the good things about racing. You do all this traveling, you sample all the different foods, don't go to the chain places, go and explore and see what the local fare truly is.
I've done that once with you here, Lee, so I kind of trust you a little bit now. Just a little bit.
Right. Yeah, you still, never mind. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to move on. So, Danny, look, the kids are involved in junior dragsters, and here you are, you're tuning on this 11,000 horsepower beast, and then you've got a 1-cylinder engine. Marvel in themselves what they're able to do. I can remember my dad in my junior dragster days just at his, just almost beside himself of how in the world are we going to get this thing to be consistent and get tuned. So at times, what do you find it more challenging to tune one of those little things?
Oh, they're a pain in the butts, dude. Jeez. It's easier to run 3 seconds at 330 miles an hour than it is to just get it to putt down there. But it's challenging. But kids love it. It's just a new challenge for me. It's kind of fun. And to see the kids get their last year, since we didn't race last year, we got to do all the races. And they both got their first wins. My little one got his first win in the 4-wide, which is crazy to see juniors racing 4-wide, but they are finicky little turds.
And that's awesome to see, especially because we always talk about keeping the kids in the sport and going and seeing all the, like you guys and seeing Antron and everyone keeping their kids in the sport. How do you feel they take on, that, I guess I would say, pressure of knowing who their dad is and, what your name holds? Do you think that they hold any of that, or are they just going out and having fun?
I think just go out and have fun. I mean, they grew up, as soon as they were babies, we're out the track. So they watch John race since they were babies, and Brittany and Courtney. So it's just like another part of the like you didn't even have to explain how the tree worked because they watched for so long. Like, this is how we stage. So they love it, and I think they're bit by the bug.
Well, I'm glad that they definitely were able to be astute enough to pay attention to the tree and how it worked. My first encounter with the tree, my dad didn't explain to me that, if I let off the brake, it will just kind of idle on in. Nobody explained that to me. So, they helped me. I get the first bulb in. I'm just sitting there like, we're ready. What are we doing? And then I feel this nudge by my dad, and he puts me in the lights. And I'm like, oh, that's what. Oh, okay. Well, just tell me to let off the brake. I mean, man, come on. Come on. So what were some things for you that in the tuning world you finally had explained to you, and it was like a light bulb moment for now on into your career? What were some of those moments, and who was that individual saying, have you thought about this?
As far as the juniors?
Well, both juniors and funny car.
Yeah, they're both different, totally different animals. Like, I mean, in funny car, you have so much power. You don't have to worry about things like the junior. Wind, is the track sticky? So that was one thing I had to learn with the juniors is like, oh, if the wind's blowing, it's going to slow them down. Like, I'm not used to that. So that was a pain in the butt. And then, I mean, you learn a lot of good things from each person you work with, throughout your career. You pick little things from this person, and that's how you develop.
So with tuning and everything that's going on, like what's that one part of, I guess, the race that you look at the most that says, okay, we need to do this or fix this? What's the part that you study the most?
For both, or for juniors, or for real race cars?
I mean, yeah, I would say both, if there's a difference.
Yeah, there's kind of with our racing, you're trying to go, or in Nhra, the big boys, you're trying to go as fast as you can from point A to point B. With the juniors, you're trying to run a number, which doesn't make sense to me. I'm always grown up to go as fast as you can from here to there. So that's been a big challenge for me. Hopefully one day we'll get like a heads up outlaw class out here on the West Coast where you just run as fast as you can to 330 or 660. That would be awesome, because that would make sense to me. As far as the funny car, you want to push it as hard as you can. And especially with these, only 2 runs or 3 runs of qualifying, you got to kind of do a safe run and then push it versus. So it's a new challenge this year, just to make sure, you get it in the show and then be able to push so you're up at the top half of the field.
All right. So Mike Ashley is making us take a bit of a twist here. He's asking me to ask you, Lee, ask him how he met Ashley and what happened that night. So I've never heard the story. You're on the show, and Mike Ashley, the Mike Ashley, and you can go talk to him later if you want to this weekend. He's asking. So let us know, man.
Well, it's the story of all stories. I was working for Mike at the time, him and Brian Karate, and I noticed, she's going to be mad at me, but my wife started stalking me for a couple races. And then, and I think it was Sonoma. All of a sudden, John pulls up and he yells out at all of our guys in the pit, "Where's that kid at?" And I come out, and then he introduced us and gave me her phone number, and the rest is history.
Wow. I tell you what, Mike's just been setting up a lot out there in the pits. The Oswald, Karate, Antron, now his son. And look, you and Ashley, look at that. I mean, wow. It's just amazing. Keep up the good work, Mike. Keep up the good work.
He's the matchmaker. I've had a lot of fun with him, and the Iceman and Karate. We had a good time. Bunch of the crew guys together. We all still talk.
So I know we had John on and we tried to ask some questions. I don't know if you saw that episode. Lee asked very inappropriate questions.
Hey, whoa, John said we could go there and I went there. I'm just saying.
He did. But what is it like sitting down if you guys ever have to do an interview or have those meetings? What is it like trying to tame John to get the answer that you want right then and there?
It's pretty tough. It's because he'll go off. Even yesterday, my wife was filming some stuff with Brittany, and it's like, I just need 2 words out of you, and he'd say a 10-minute sentence. It's just like, so it's. I mean, that's what I. When they asked for me to be on here, I'm like, I'm not going to be John. I'm not going to talk for an hour straight, you know. So I mean, it's tough, but I mean, he's hilarious to listen to, and it's a blast to work with.
Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
Oh, another fan question for you. It says, why so much shake in qualifying this year? Is NHRA prepping the track differently?
No, I think the tracks are prepped good. It's just with less qualifying runs, you know, people are playing it safe. And it's a different, when you got 4 runs, I know it's weird to say you got 4 runs versus 3 runs, but usually on a 4 run, Friday morning, you can make a good safe run. And then Friday night is your throwdown run to go for your position. So now you're kind of doing a safe throwdown run Friday night, and then Saturday you're kind of working on your race day setup. So it's kind of a different twist, but it's a new challenge, and we'll see what we get in Epping here in a couple days.
Well, speaking of a couple of days, so Sarah Slaughter, she's the PR, public relations lady over there at John Force. Love her last name. And she ought to just go by that all the time. I'm Miss Slaughter. There ought to be some, like when she comes out of the John Force trailer, there ought to be some theme music, you know, like she's a wrestler or something.
Some rock music.
Yeah. I mean, it's just an awesome, great, strong last name. Well, she sent over about team bonding. What's the plan in Epping? Any team bonding before the race itself or after? Or, you know, y'all going to try to go catch lobsters together? What is it this time?
We always try to sneak out for a little bit of golf. But then we try to always do, like Thursday night, we do a team dinner together, get all of our guys together and just have a couple beers and just, you know, try to get that camaraderie. Because that's the biggest thing with racing is we got 10 guys or 8 guys on the road living together. You gotta keep everybody happy, because that translates into the race car running good. You got a team that's having fun, the car knows it. Or if you got a bunch of guys that are like bickering and the car runs like poop. So you got a hardest part in drag racing is keeping everybody happy and the morale good.
I know that feeling. I remember working on the dairy farm, and when the cows were happy, they milked easier. When they weren't happy, they didn't milk as easy. So they're kind of like cows there, apparently. Got to have happy crew people, like you got to need happy cows. California, happy cows.
You went there, Lee, didn't you?
I did.
See, now this is what I have to deal with. This has to be just like sitting down with John talking about something, and then squirrel, like
left field, boop. Yeah.
So you're a hockey fan, and we kind of have to talk about this just a little bit. As my former team is the Blackhawks, I am now a true Vegas fan because the Raiders are there and the Golden Knights. So I heard that your sister may be the better hockey player in the family.
Yeah, she probably is. I'm a goalie, so it's different. She skates out, but yeah, she started younger than I did, and she could put me on the boards if she wanted to. That's for sure. I can't believe you switched away from the Blackhawks, though. You can't just let go of the Hawks. Come on now, man.
Yeah, you can. That's like the Hawks is like liking the Bulls back when Jordan was there, you know, or liking the 49ers when. So it was just one of those things. It was like you can't not like them. But now that the Raiders are in Vegas, I'm a Reeves fan too. So it's kind of, you know, but now I'm diehard Raiders for the rest of my life. I mean, you know, Vegas is the way to go. Vegas. Can't beat it.
This year, we'll switch. My little one's a huge Vegas fan. His buddy's from Vegas, so he's a Raiders fan. He's got Vegas night stuff in his room. So we got stuff everywhere. My other son's a different fan, and sports, you gotta love it.
Yeah, sports are great, and I know I'll just chime in then. My team would be I don't follow much NHL. I follow more amateur, not amateur. Minor league hockey. The Rochester Amerks. That would be my team. I'll give them a shout out.
Where are they? Who's their affiliate team?
Oh, you would ask that. Wow. Oh.
Big fan. Way to go.
Buffalo. It's Buffalo. Actually, it's Buffalo. It's and what is Buffalo? The Sabres. There we go.
What is Buffalo?
There we go. Had to think there.
Sorry, Lee.
Busting them out.
Lee. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I grew up in South Carolina. Hockey isn't on the main list of sports. It's college football down here.
So Dan, we have to ask this question too, since we're just going down that field. Do you have any good Bobby Bennett stories?
Oh boy.
No, not really.
Or a good John Force story? We're digging for a bunch of stories on people, and no one is like really coming through with good stories for us.
Oh, no. Good geez. I don't have any good stories that I could probably say on here.
What about see, that's the key. That's the key. What about because apparently the information we got from Miss Slaughter is that you started your career with Mr. Creasy, and that family has been out there for a very long time in the nitro world in one way or another. Do you happen to know how he got the nickname Peanut that I've learned that he's got? So how did that work out? Do you know?
I don't actually know that. Maybe because he's got a peanut head, maybe. I'm just kidding.
Well, we got something to clip out of this episode and throw out there. No. So what was that first start like? How did you get that gig and it propel you on to? I mean, now you're with a organization that is 20 plus championships and the man that's won the most funny car wins ever.
I started off just with my dad in the garage, and he knew the Creasy's growing up, so we started helping him when I was a kid, and then actually got to help a couple times with Gary Bolger when he used to drive, which not too many people know that name anymore, but that was a long time ago. Jeez. And then Dale Creasy Jr. started driving, so when I was in high school, I would, during the summer, go on the road, and that's how I got stuck with the bug of nitro racing, and then graduated high school and went to work for Dean Scusa and Brian Karate.
Dean Scusa. Loved when him and John would pair up in long burnouts, both of them down the track. Oh, it was so good. So good.
King of the burnouts. Yeah.
Yes. Good times.
They need to bring that back. Just do burnout contests.
I agree.
If they did awesome. That, Stevie Fast Jackson would win that one, I would say. I think Stevie would win it.
I don't know. You put enough fuel in John's car, he'd drive that thing down the return road.
That would be cool to see. That would be great to see. I mean, for as long as he did them, those long burnouts, it. I mean, I imagine it's a bit of a burr in his saddle that he can't go out there and just like he used to do. I mean, look, I get it. The tires don't need that anymore, and the heat and things of that nature. But that is a part of the show and the entertainment side of things. I definitely do miss. I remember it as a kid at Southern Nationals, and need it back.
We'll let them do it at
the burnout.
When we do the Night of Fire match race, we'll fill it so it's overflowing, and we'll let them do a big old smoky burnout. But it's just hard now. The things use so much fuel. It's just, I mean, we don't have enough room to put the fuel in them anymore,
And that's what Formula AA actually mentions. He's like, how much do you like Night Under Fire at Norwalk? I have not been yet. You've been many times. Tell us about the experience of Night Under Fire at Summit Motorsports Park.
It is one heck of a show. I mean, it's all day, all night, just nonstop chaos, and it's fun to go out there, and the amount of people that show up for that. And I got to first time we did it was when my wife was driving, and it was just like, geez, they did a parade, and you stop on the track, and just like thousands and thousands of people just rush the track, and it's cool. Fireworks. I mean, my kids go now, and it's a blast. If you haven't been, you need to go for sure.
And then people are asking for a good Dean story. Do you have one of those that you can tell? Lee, that laugh right there tells it all. He's like, oh, I've got plenty to say.
There's a lot there. But it's just, what is it rated? And are we still going to be monetized after it? That's the issue here.
Hey, if you go back a couple of episodes, I don't think there's much more you can really say that's not,
that is true. That is true. We don't have to go. We don't need to go there any further. No.
I got a good one about his dad. His dad would always, Don Schumacher would always, when one of the crew guys had a girl in the pit or whatever, he always checked the nitro with the beaker, and he would go in the trailer and fill it up with Mountain Dew, and he would come out with the beaker and he'd just glug 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 and drink it. Everybody would be like, "Holy, what did you just do?" But it was Mountain Dew. That was a pretty funny one.
I like that. It's a good move. So, do you happen to know where Dean is today? He kind of dropped off the radar. And you have any contact with him? What's he doing? What's he up to?
No, I don't. I talk a lot with Brian Karate, and he's still in contact with them. I think they're all doing good, just doing their thing.
All right. That's more information than we had.
All right. And going back to this burnout, I didn't forget about this. So you said that John would drive it back on the return road. I have a challenge. Since Erica does her drive that bitch back, why doesn't John?
Oh,
one time this year, we please let him drive it back.
There wouldn't be enough fuel left.
No, there wouldn't be.
We only got a couple gallons left in the tank after you go to the light, so you might be able to make the turn and coast back a little ways.
Yeah, just like start it up right in front of the fans and let them, flip it around the corner a little bit.
Man, Sam, you're almost talking about a
dreams, man. Dreams.
Look, I know, but it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I mean, the closest we got to that was Melanie Troxel at Pomona when it refired and went through all the inflatables and hit a pit vehicle. That wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Pro Mod, Alex, he drove it back. Door slammers. I mean,
right.
Yeah, they got doors. That's why they drive them back.
There you go.
I know.
See, it's got doors.
Hey, that's another thing. Would you, as a tuner and a crew chief, would you ever get into that car?
When I was a kid, I thought I wanted to, but I think my brain got big enough. I was like, I can strap my butt to a bomb. Switch. I'd rather turn the knobs and see the thing run good versus being in it. So I got a lot of appreciation for the people that step on the gas. It's insane the amount of power these things have and how fast they go. Like just to sit once in a while, if you go down by the clocks and just see how fast they're ripping by, you're like, whoa, wouldn't do it.
So looking towards Epping, give us the crew chief notes. I mean, not the literal ones, but give us the notes. Like, what are you looking at that facility to be prepared for to make that John Force funny car run the best that it can? What are you concerned about? The facility, the tracks, the weather, things of that nature.
Well, it looks like it's going to be cool. So when that place gets cool, it's fast. And then when it gets hot, it gets really slippery. So it looks like we're going to have some clouds, and we'll have to wait till we get there. It changes every day. But I think if it's cool and cloudy, you'll be able to rip. So mid 80s I bet you.
Down to the number. Like it. And how much data, like when you guys look back over the passes you guys made and, you know, the spreadsheets, how much of that are you relying on, you know, going up into this week, going into the week?
Well, that's what it is. I mean, Lanny's out there getting all that track info for us, you know, and the track temps. And so we go off of that. Temps, you know, how good the rubber is, if it's greasy, not greasy, what the torque is on it. And then we just look back and look at some runs and just say, okay, this is close. Let's go see if this works. That's one thing that comes down to qualifying. Like, you're kind of just, in a way, guessing off of previous runs. And then you go make your first run and then you approve from there.
I know Lee and I kind of discussed it. I think it was in Vegas. We talked about it. When the guys are out testing the track and looking, you know, at what they're all doing with those machines. Can you dive into that, you know, just a little bit of what all they're looking for and what all data they're getting back to you guys?
Yeah, there's a couple of different machines. You got the ones where they twist. So it's like a flat rubber pad and they twist it on the track just to see what the torque is to kind of break it loose. And then the newer ones they got, it's got like a little wheel. So it kind of spins on the rubber, almost like a wheel, like a race car wheel does. And it just gives us like a torque number. So the hotter and greasier it gets, the easier it spins. So then we can kind of look at that compared to the track temp and just, you know, is it greasy or is it really gorilla? So then you can push harder.
All right, there we go. Well, Danny, look, we have got to the point of it's time to let you go. Thank you for coming on. It was not as bad as you probably were told that it was going to be. You have survived. And we're going to let you go, and we've got to bring on guest number 2, Mr. Ron Capps.
Oh, he's going to show me up, isn't he?
Oh, no, I'm sure. I'm looking forward to talking to Capps. We need to get some Bakersfield information, and he can clue us in on what all happened there, and look forward to hearing from him on Epping, and look forward to seeing you at Epping. So, Danny, thank you for being on, man.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Had fun.
Yeah, no problem. I won't be there, but have fun, and make sure you give the jeweler and Lee crap if you see them both.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, guys.
Ron.
Mr. Capps, how's it going?
How are you? You guys hear me okay?
Doing good?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, good. All right.
Oh, man. Look at the gear.
The new Bluetooth. It's first time,
right.
so
they're working out. They're working out.
Good.
Hey, look at the new gear wrench hat. We like that, man. Talk to us about that partnership. Since last time you were on, they came on board.
Yeah, pretty fun. We made that announcement right before, first race was Gainesville, so it wasn't Pomona, which so it was kind of a last minute thing. They knew that we had an availability on the car, and we didn't have a tool company rolling into this year that was set in stone. And come to find out, I mean, one of the Napa guys that's worked with us before was associated with them, and it's been awesome. We met with them down preseason testing. They shot a bunch of stuff, and their social media team is a blast. They're really good at what they do. So I'm looking forward to some of the stuff they'll have for our fans this year. But great tools, just a lot of fun. Signed a multi-year deal, so got great teammates. Kurt Busch, and some other series. Got a drifter that's pretty badass. So I'm looking forward to maybe getting a ride in his car.
There you go, getting a ride in that car. And maybe we can get Kurt to do something a little bit beyond pro stock. Work that out. Would love to see that.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that would be cool.
Definitely. And
how are you guys?
Man, we're doing great. Talking drag racing and enjoying doing this right here, yakking it up. And man, look, speaking of social media, How do y'all come up with what movie scene to select to put your face? I mean, I'm like, oh, he's Terminator. He's Edward Scissorhands. He's, what's next? Where will we see Ron Cap star?
I have about 20 or so in my phone ready to go. Some are probably not appropriate, and I've thought about using them. So it just depends on what mood and where I'm at. If I'm on a plane, and I might look at one I did in the past and go, this is a good time for this one. And the other day, the Van Halen one came up. I couldn't resist. So, so you never know. But I've got some pretty good ones saved that I can't wait to put up. It's amazing what they do with apps, right? I mean, to put somebody's face on, it's just crazy. I look at it and just go, how does, can you imagine being a time traveler and going back and having somebody like in the 50s or 60s seeing something like some of the apps that we have on our phones? I mean, it'd just be mind-boggling, some of the crazy stuff. I guess it'd be like the movie Back to the Future, when he goes back the first time and shows people some different things. But it's amazing what they can do and put somebody's face on in a movie scene and have it look like it's natural.
Right, man. We've definitely are in a day and time where you can't trust dating apps because someone has put a filter on. You don't know what you're going to show up to.
Yeah, it's scary. Scary stuff.
Hey, Ron, you had a pretty cool die cast that you got of your car. Who did that? First of all, that thing is amazing just from the video that you kind of posted. But who did that for you, and where did that come from?
We have some longtime Napa store owners in Bakersfield that are they put up tents and done stuff at the March meet with us. And in fact, they go to almost every West Coast race, Sonoma, Pomona, Phoenix. I mean, they're really big NHRA fans. And they knew a guy up in, I'm going to have to look at my phone to give his name out. Now that you said that, you're going to call me out on it. But he builds diecast from scratch. Well, when they first showed me this, I looked at it. I'm like, you can't go buy any of that stuff. I mean, there's no Topolino body like that. There's no. It's just great. I was just staring at this thing for 8 or 9 minutes. I'm like, how did he do this? I mean, even the detail is amazing. He made 3 of them, so he made it for these people. Tim and Linda Delsid are their names, and this guy made it initially for them, but he made 2 more. He made one for me and one for the owners of that Fuel Ultra that I drove, John and Roxy Hertzik. So I got to take that one over to Roxy, the wife of John that owns a Fuel Ultra, and give that to them at the track this last March meet. And I got home, and when I shot that video, I was just staring at it some more. I couldn't believe the detail. His name is Joe Castro, and he goes by Dragster Joe Custom Diecasts. I think I put it on that post, but anyway, yeah, unbelievable. It's, this whole COVID time last year, I think I talked to you guys, we did a show, and like our other room is just packed full of stuff. We've been going through the house. It looks like it's a mess in there because all the stuff that I'm being given by fans over 6 years I've been driving, just kind of put in storage and pushed away into different areas. And a lot of it's really cool pictures, and some of it fans bring the most amazing things. And it goes in my trailer, my hauler, and then usually it's Pomona, the season-ending race, that I unload everything throughout the season and put it in my motorhome Pomona, and then drive home and unload it in our storage. So that's been going on for years, 20-something years. So it's little things like that you get from fans that they're just, I'll walk around the house and look at some of these cool things that fans took a lot of time to make. And I just ran into some little cars as a kid in Bristol that throughout, I don't know how old he is now. I'll see him again this year, but I bet since he was 2 or 3, I've seen this little kid with his family. He's given me a birthday card because my birthday always came on Bristol weekend on Father's Day. And I ran across all the ones throughout the years that kid had given me. So just another cool thing that our fans really show their support and their appreciation for.
Well, man, look, you show it right back. I did a little video and showed a photo of you and the way in which you interact with the fans. You're one of the better ones out there doing that. So why do that? Why hang outside of the the hauler. And by the way, we also need to know, is someone holding on to you when you're doing that, just so Don doesn't lose a driver? How do you do it? What's the form and the proper form? Is it 2 thumbs up with a fist pump? What's the Ron Capps way? Clue us in, man.
Of what are you talking about? The selfie stuff?
No, so Las Vegas, you're coming back on the return road and you're hanging outside the vehicle,
you got to be careful. Our Durango, you just want to make sure my family is real close with a family, the Palmer Electric people. And they've always had a suite in Las Vegas, and it's the very end suite as you're going down the track, but coming back, it's the first suite. And then they turned it into a double suite. They bought another one. Big supporter since I was, with Don Prudhomme, the Skull Car. And I've known this family, their kids, watched them grow up. So anyway, I always make sure I come back and I certain sign to my daughter, my wife, I blow her a kiss, and then the fans just started kind of going crazy. And it's just something fun to do. At tracks that we tow back on the return road, it's always fun and my wife always tells me, you need to go out and wave at those people, on your way back. Because sometimes, you see drivers with the windows up and they're just in the tow vehicle, because none of us drivers drive the race car back. I think fans, probably most of them know that. We're always in the tow vehicle. So anyway, just sort of started Pomona and places like that. But Vegas, the fans just start going. So every time you come back, you feel like you need to be more and more. And pretty soon, you don't want to be like Beckman. Beckman pretty much is like standing on his Durango when he tows back. I mean, he's almost all the way out when he would do it, but you just got to be careful. And if somebody doesn't like you, they could throw stuff at you. So there's 2 sides to that. I've never had anything thrown at me, but I've seen people throw it at other drivers. So you probably want to be careful hanging out too much.
Never even thought about that standpoint of it. Like somebody can just throw their pop.
I've seen it in Pomona, believe it or not. Yeah.
Oh man.
So
all those California fans, something about them. But Lee and I took a bet. I'm like, he has to roll the window down so far, so at least his thighs are leaning on that, so he knows if he's going too far, or is it you're just standing in there and holding on for dear life?
I got my arm inside looped around on that handle, and the new Durangos are cool because the window goes down almost all the way, not like a lot of these other SUVs and cars where they stop. So that gives me a lot of, and I'm not a big guy, so I don't think Hagen could probably pull that off. Not that he would anyway, but I'm not so sure he would be able to hang out that back window like that.
I don't think, his triceps might, bump a little bit. So not calling you out, Matt. You are bigger than me, so we're good there. But, so yeah, your energy, we were talking about it earlier in the show. I saw you in Houston and you were just kind of walking around the pits, and I walked up to you and said, how are you just walking around and no one has even said anything? And we walked for, I don't know, a couple of feet, and people are like, hey, that's Ron Capps. Hey, and you just were, cruising around. What is that like for you when you, can just walk around and experience what the fans are seeing at the pits?
Well, I went over to our merchandise trailer to sign some stuff. It was the rain. Remember, the rain had come. So I thought the fans are hanging out. So I went over to the merchandise row there and just went in our trailer there where they sell my shirts and hats. And it's pretty cool when you're in there and all of a sudden you see a fan and they're looking around different shirts. They look in your trailer and they're like, guy's wife will bump him and go, hey, there's Ron, then they come over and they want to get something and get it signed. So I was hanging out there, and then I was on my way back to the trailer when I saw you. And it's cool. I got to tell you, I probably said it before, but the coolest part was the first time we went to ZMAX. That very first year, the very first time ever that we went and raced at ZMAX was NASCAR. It still is NASCAR country course, but that very first time, it cracked me up because I would either be walking to go to our merchandise trailer or go do an appearance or a meet and greet or riding the scooter through the crowd. And I couldn't believe how many people were blown away that I had gone by, or John or whoever, but I could hear them as I would walk through a crowd or ride the motorcycle. And they're used to NASCAR drivers, and you don't see the NASCAR drivers out walking around, and you got to have a hot pass to get into the pit area. You just don't get into the pit area. So you got to know somebody or have a connection or a sponsor connection. So they're just not used to seeing a Jeff Gordon, a Jimmy Johnson, or Dale Earnhardt walking through the pit area when you go to a NASCAR race. So the first NHRA race that they came to, most of them didn't understand that every ticket's a pit pass and that literally you are in the pits and can run into John Force or Matt Hagan or Leah. So it was funny to go through the pits and just hear these people as I'm going through behind me going, oh my God, there's a driver. He's right there. You know, and you're laughing yourself. You're like, yep, this is NHRA drag race. So this is what it's been like that for years, even when I was a kid. So yeah, I love it. I love walking through there. I actually went over and said hi to Tim Wilkerson and chatted about the fuel altered run they made in Texas, and was just on my way back when I saw you.
I still have that footage too, and it's all getting into a race car rain delay video that I've been working on. But you know, speaking of, you got to put a good hip hop song to it, like something as I'm walking through there. You got to maybe, I don't know, Snoop or something kind of funky. That might be good.
He needs to reach out to Ron Tobler and find the right one.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll send the video to Tobler and say which song goes with this. Another question about being. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say.
Another question about being in the pits is here. I know, Lee. I don't know what's going on tonight, but a lot of people bring food. Is there a food that you like, or that, you know, is there a certain fan at a certain racetrack that brings, you know, homemade cookies or anything like that you're like, yeah, I'm looking forward to going there?
Well, for us, every race, we got a very long time fan of mine named Nhra. I won't say her last name on here, but she goes to a lot of NHRA races, and I met her back when I was the Copenhagen car years ago. She brings goodies every race. It's amazing our team isn't 300 pounds, because she brings, listen to this, she will drive, and it only happens one ZMAX race because apparently these peanuts or something aren't in season for this at a certain time when we're there, either the first race or the second ZMAX. She drives like an hour to find these cookies that are this famous place out in North Carolina, and she brings them to our trailer and leaves them in our trailer every race in ZMAX. But every race that she goes to, I walk in, and sure enough, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I posted something about gummy bears, and I forgot what it was even about. And I don't even really like gummy bears, but I posted something on social media, and I forgot how I posted it. But the next thing you know, the next race I showed up, fans were bringing those huge bags of gummy bears, and my crew loved them, so it worked out good. But fans, you got to be careful, because you wonder sometimes, if there's a fan, you don't want to wake up in the morning and have stomach issues, but you got to trust who's bringing them. And sometimes there'll be a fan or something will just drop it off, and you're like, oh boy, I hope that's good. Most of the time I'll walk in the trailer on a Friday or Saturday when I first get to the pits, and I'll walk in, and to the left is a whole row of just goodies from our fans. So God bless them. We love it. I'm going to start saying things like, I love filet mignon, and naming off things, and then maybe I'll have those things show up in our trailer. Fig Newtons are actually my very favorite snack, believe it or not. And I'd said something a long time ago in an interview, and they were showing up for a long time at different racetracks. So it was pretty cool.
Stellar, man. Very cool. All right. March meet did not happen in March this year. It happened in May. So it's March meet in May. And I thought it was pretty cool that Memorial Day weekend, which is known for the big three, Monaco, Indy 500, World 600, Coke 600. Well, Monaco got moved the week before, but this prestigious, well-known drag race got to race on Memorial Day weekend. I thought that was pretty cool. And even though it wasn't March, what was the event like, and what did it feel like, and did it still feel as prestigious as always?
Well, we're still out here in California. We're on lockdown still. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. The rest of the country's opened up, and, we had just came from Texas racing, so they've been open. It's very strange for me to fly back home and then have us in this whatever color tier we were in. In fact, today, this morning's news, we have now broken into the yellow tier, whatever that means. So with that being said, we're still kind of being held ransom here in California. So unfortunately, it wasn't a wide open event. I think they're allowing baseball teams and all that to open up. Well, because we're coming up, Pomona's coming up not too far off, but I think another couple weeks and they're going to open things up. So unfortunately, they couldn't make it a full blown open, anybody show up. So it was a little weird not to have tons of fans there. It was still a great event, a lot of racers, great racing. It just didn't seem like it was the same. And, people, you had to have a mask to walk in. And once we got in, not a lot of people were wearing masks, especially the teams and stuff. I mean, everybody was vaccinated, really kind of did what they wanted. So once the race got going, it was cool. They had night qualifying, which they don't do in March because the weather's a little different. Obviously, it was hot in Bakersfield. So the night qualifying was very cool. Fuel alters at night, top fuel rails at night. The A gas cars were so cool to watch. They have that Nostalgia Pro Mod series, which is unbelievable to watch these cars run. So I can't wait to see them again. I hope they come to one of our races soon. But anyway, it was a good event. I'm just bummed they couldn't have a full event and have it wide open. I know that's it would have been good for them to make a little bit of money back. But anyhow, next year is going to be a blast. It'll be back to normal. We're going to have all the people from the UK and England and Australia and have it the usual deal. I'll be driving, in fact, the Burkholders car. A buddy of mine, Bill Wyndham, bought the Burkholders car, and it's being refurbished right now, and I'm going to be driving that next year. So looking forward to that.
Let me bring Sam back in the stream. Hey, welcome back, buddy. You left.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. They just, boom, it was gone. Then it was back. So, question for you, Ron. You talked about the Copenhagen car. We've always talked about all this, and with you bringing up, the March meet and everything, what do you think we would have to do to get another Copenhagen car or get Copenhagen back into drag racing?
Well, that's not going to happen. The paint scheme was cool. I'd love to bring that paint scheme back somehow. It was so simple and so cool. And that's really what kind of happened with that whole Don Perdomes, is that it was going to go away because of tobacco and all the litigation, all the stuff they had going on with, even though it wasn't the smokeless tobacco. I mean, they were kind of pulled into it. So anyway, you could see the writing was on the wall. So nowadays, with how stringent they are, I mean, you won't see any tobacco race cars, rodeo stuff that's sponsored like it used to be. But yeah, those were good days, man. It's just such a fun time. Great people, great company, and they knew how to do it. I mean, that trailer we had set up for the fans to go through, and had the snake pit, little bar area up in the front. It was just a lot of fun. A lot of cool rodeo, world champion rodeo teammates. I used to go to NFR and PBR and do autograph sessions with those guys there, and I just to get it to hang out with Tough Hedeman and guys like that were a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember those days, the Copenhagen girls and the Skull girls, and you'd have to go into this place,
Yeah, I didn't want to mention that, but
I remember those days. I wasn't old enough to go in. Now I'm old enough to go in, and there's no girls. It's like, come on,
Hey, you want to hear a funny story? You asked Danny. I was waiting for him to see if he could even tell a story, which I loved his backdrop. Did you notice the backdrop he had?
It was John Force, I thought. I mean, what about it in particular?
No. Well, Ashley actually posted something. So I was reading that before I got on, and she actually helped with his backdrop. And she's very good with all that stuff. So it was funny to read her post on it and then tune in and see you guys talking to him to see the backdrop. But Austin Coyle, who is one of my heroes, right? So when they first built that middle trailer, the technology trailer that now everybody has, pretty much a second trailer, but that first time they built that technology trailer I have over there, and it was in between Tony's and Force's car. Austin, helped design it, and they had all the stations there with the crew chiefs. But Austin had this little joystick, and there in the back of that trailer had a camera mounted on it. And for that day, so you're talking 1997, we started the sponsor, so probably 2000 or whenever they came out with that trailer. We might have been Skoll by then. It might have been past the Copenhagen days. But he was telling me about it. So he had this Wazoo camera mounted at the back of their trailer. It looked out over the pits, right? With all the people walking around. but he would always tell NHRA to try to park them across from us. And he would have this camera, and this camera, he had a joystick, and he could move this camera around and look at fans. He could look at stuff going on out there, but he could zoom in. And for its day, it was a pretty cool camera. And he would zoom in on the Copenhagen girls or the Skull girls when they were Skull girls that would be right across the way at our pit area, right? They would greet fans and let them in that trailer. They had that trailer set up for the fans. And there'd be 5, 6, whatever it was, Copenhagen Skull girls, whatever you want to call them. And I used to hear these stories, and finally I went over there. I was out there one time, and the Skull girls were all out there and signing autographs, and I could see it moving around. And so I'd heard him tell stories about it, so I went into their trailer, went inside, and sure enough, there he was. He saw me coming, but he could zoom in and literally pick a piece of the costume or whatever the girls were wearing. So it was I'll never forget that. And Austin Coyle's already the legendary stories, back in the day with Austin Coyle, but that one to me ranks right up there. It was pretty funny to see. He should be in there concentrating on his race car, and he's got Bernie and all those guys. They're playing around with the camera.
Austin, you dog. man. Oh, wow. Well, I know this much. I was at the SRO Motorsports GT World Challenge this past weekend at Virginia International Raceway, and it was nice to see some Pirelli girls and them out there and participating. It was pretty cool. We need some of that back to some degree. I remember Miss Winston. She was great. Those are cool days. Yeah. Something needs to get worked out. Miss Camping World. Somebody work on that. Let's do it.
Man, no. No. What is she
World.
gonna have on, like camping boots and like?
There we go. Yeah, camping boots, North Face. I don't know, maybe.
No. So okay, back to what I was saying with the Copenhagen car, because now if you go to the racetrack, they have those. I think they're called zinc. Pouches. I've seen them at pretty much every race.
That, yeah.
They have those, and now you're starting to see more CBD, stuff into the sport. And this brings it, up to a whole nother thing. The elite motorsports team, they have their endeavors now, looking at, like you said, Hagen with his CBD and all this. Do you think that NHRA is still closed off and not an open market to some of these new ideas and the ways of the world? Or what are your personal, I guess, senses of how they're approaching the rapidly changing market that we could be involved in?
Yeah, marketing wise, that's the same with the betting sites, right? I mean, NASCAR is in on that stuff now. And NHRA has always historically kind of watched what NASCAR does and then followed suit or not. But most of the time they try to obviously NASCAR is a huge engine. It's just what it does. It's like the NFL. So I don't know. I think the hold up on a lot of that, because I know my brother John had worked on a deal to bring out to a funny car team, a CBD deal at one point. And I think a lot of it is that it's not completely legal everywhere. I could be wrong. I don't know. So I don't know what the parameters are, but the fact that they do have it set up in the pit area, and I just got some samples and brought them home from Hagen's that was across the pit area from us there at the track, and fans can see that at the next race. I think it's at every race, but it looks like things are opening up. So yeah, maybe. I mean, obviously there's a lot of money in that, so it'd be great to have some teams funded. I know 2 great drivers sitting at home in Jack Beckman and Tommy Johnson that could use any amount of funding. So I hope things like that do come into the sport, DraftKings and things like that I see NASCAR doing, because it just all it does is open up. But you got to look at what Glenn and the guys at NHRA, I'm sure the legal part of it, as we know, the legal team at NHRA probably really is the big boss and not necessarily whatever the titles are that you see listed in the National Dragster. So I think legally we'll have to just wait and see.
Well, Ron, as we begin to wind down, let's take a little bit of time and look forward to Epping this weekend. You're sitting 4th in points right now. Don Schumacher has not won a race yet in Funny Car this year. Is the competition, as everyone was kind of expecting, as tough or even tougher than thought it was going to be in 2021, because it looks really tough out there right now.
It is. You know, I say it every year. I mean, every year it seems like we say, God, funny car is just so tight. And I think Houston on Monday was a great example of that. And really every race this year. And I hated it was great we won all those races last year, believe me. The fact that DSR swept, yeah, John and Robert weren't out there, but you know, every time I heard somebody say that or talk about it, you know, it felt like it was a little slap in the face of some of those teams, especially, you know, you got Wilkerson and Cruz and you got all these one-car teams. But I think it really pissed off some teams last year, and they really went to do their homework in the off season. We knew John and Danny and of course Robert and Jimmy were going to be tough when they came back, whenever they came back. And so that was a given. But I also knew, listen, there's times I had to go to the banquet when you finish 5th, 6th, 7th in points, and you have to sit there or you don't get your check to give to Don. And you stew the whole night. It irritates you to think of how you didn't win that year and what went wrong and how you can get better. And that's all you think about. And I love it and I hate it, but I always woke up that next Tuesday morning just going, man, I want to get to work and figure out how we can be better, whether it was me or the team or together or whatever. So I think a lot of teams did that in the off season. That being said, it's going to be all the way to the playoffs. It's going to be a fight. I mean, there are so many good cars with Tasca doing well and everybody right there. So again, funny car is going to come down, you know, probably right to the wire like it always does. You know, it's not like there's 4 or 5 teams. There is legitimately 8, 9, 10 cars that could win a race on a Sunday at any given time. So I love it. I hate it at the same time because, you know, every single round is just like a world championship round. And the way people with 2 qualifying runs and 3 qualifying runs, sometimes it really puts the pressure. And some teams that are really good don't qualify as well. Things go wrong. Like, you know, you might have a little gremlin and the next thing you know, like Robert Height, and some teams didn't get runs when it rained, you know, when they were in Houston. So it was a weird ladder to look and see some of the really good teams not qualified so well. So there's a good chance you qualify well and you got a Height or a Hagen or me or whoever first round. So things like that are going to happen this year with the limited runs that we have and not as much testing going on. So that's just going to amplify how close everything is, I think.
No, and that just speaks a test to the competition you guys have there. But looking at that all, and you say the competition is good, if you're looking at the alcohol class, is there a couple of guys in that class that you're like, man, if they move up, I think they would give us a run for our money too?
No, it's just such a huge difference. You know, I watched Doug, Mike Gordon, the Gordon family, good friends of mine, grew up in the same area. So I'm always cheering for them in Funny Car. It is such a, you know, there's some A fuel cars maybe that you would think, but it's such a different dynamic that you never, there's certain drivers, I think if you threw them into a fuel car, they would instantly be very good. But I don't think any teams necessarily as a team as a whole in alcohol funny car dragster that wouldn't take a few years minimal to even be competitive, to jump in with the likes of Guido and Proc, and you know, you can go down the list of guys and girls in our sport. So yeah, I don't look at it that way, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I was more so meaning a driver like Sean.
Oh yeah.
You know,
oh yeah,
someone like that.
Definitely.
But,
and even you go down to the comp and some of the lower classes, you know, I want to own my own team, and that's the next step. You know, I feel like I can drive a lot longer, but I do want to get into owning my own team. And I love the fact that I you know, Don Prudhomme, I always loved watching him, how he really, believe it or not, really paid attention to the lower classes. You wouldn't think he would, but I used to catch his eye a lot. And I know Don Schumacher does as well. So yeah, I always watch. The alcohol is where I grew up. It's the class that I grew up in. And if I have a moment or a minute, that's where you'll find me over saying hi to the Jay Paynes and the Gordons, and just my old friends, the people I used to hang out with in the alcohol classes.
Yeah, alcohol funny car. Look, I love nitro funny car, but alcohol funny car is right there for me. Just the whine of it off the clutch, still hitting some buttons and things of that nature, getting down the track and, revving as high as they do on the line. It is still a sight to behold in my opinion. And yeah, fans should not be leaving when alcohol comes up. They should be staying in the stands and still get that in. It's such a great class. Speaking of transition, speaking of driving the cars and, what it can take to get used to them, J.R. Todd was on American Hot Rod Entertainment with Darren Williams Jr., and he talked about his transition from Top Fuel to Funny Car, and that you came over to him during the time period of the headers being all wonky, and it's like, dude, put the button on there and hit the chutes. It's going to help you. It's going to help you. So talk to us about that time period and even what the differences are with the headers being laid back and brought forward and all those rule changes and what it was like driving those cars at that time.
Well, it's funny you brought that up. The championship year that we won, 2016, it's not talked about a lot, and I haven't said it a whole lot, but I think that year, I'm even more proud that we won the championship. I'll put it that way. That year, 2016. That was before they sort of put the training wheels back on these cars. NHRA did. It got to a point, 2015, when all of a sudden, Jimmy Prock and those guys came out really with and made the cars work better with the laid back headers. They were the first to really do it. There were other teams that put them on, but nobody ran like Beckman's car did starting in Denver, Sonoma that year. I mean, they went on a tear. They were a half a tenth or a tenth ahead before people figured out what was going on. But what that did was those laid back headers, you didn't know as a driver. And you can ask any funny car driver that was driving at that time. And you had the best guy in the world that was swapping lanes, right? John Forrest was tapping walls and swapping lanes. And it sent me many times into a corner of a dark room talking to myself because it was so unpredictable. But it was so cool because you didn't know when you staged the car and they walked away and whatever your crew chief pointed at that windshield at you and he walked away. I mean, right now you step on the gas, they're violent, and you see some of the end cars that I put up. It's a lot going on. Then 2015, 2016, when you stepped on the gas, you were just hoping that you could get the car between the cone and the wall at the 1,000-foot mark without hitting something. Honest to God, every single run. You talk to any driver and they won't tell you that they were comfortable. I can go make qualifying run in Epping on Friday night and feel pretty good that I'm going to get it down through there. It may move around a lot, but back then, oh my God, they were so out of control feeling as a driver, but they hauled ass with the laid back headers. But when the headers laid back like that, it made the front end so light. Bristol, we hit the bump that one year. We went #1 qualifier. And I remember the bump being at half track, and it lifted the front end up when the clutch locked up and carried it. I don't know how far, but it blocked my view of the track. It was that high, and the car still made it through that. But it was the most hair-raising runs I've ever had in my life. I couldn't believe I didn't lift, but I stayed in it, and somehow it made it through there. There were so many runs that us drivers got out afterwards those 2 years going, oh my God, this is crazy. So anyway, to answer your question, I think I'm not sure what your question was about. I do. What was your question about the headers? Or was it even about the headers? Did I just go off?
No, you really answered it. And, yeah, you did, man. No, what it was like driving them then compared to now. So there you go. Okay. You hit it.
So our championship it felt a little better. And there was a pivotal time in 2015 that every single run, I hit something in our car in St. Louis. And one run, I almost ran over somebody at the top end of the track. I mean, it was just one of the chutes didn't come out. It was craziness, right? So I left the track. Dale Worsham won the race. I went to the hotel by the airport, and I usually try to get an early flight on Monday, and I go get a hotel room by the airport there in St. Louis. And I was sitting in a hotel room with the TV off, just sitting on the bed. I was so pissed at myself, so disappointed. I felt like I was a rookie again. I felt bad for my crew chief. I couldn't believe that I couldn't control the car. and I get this phone call, and it's Del Worsham, and it's in the winter. He's just finishing the winter circle, but I don't know who he talked to, or somebody had told him that I left. I was bummed out about myself. And he talked to me about the car, and, he tunes and everything. And he was just trying to explain to me what they were doing with their car a little bit. And here's a guy that I'm battling for a championship. He won it that year, right? He won it 2015. So it was cool. It was a lot of fun. It put us drivers back. And it really made us go to our crew chiefs and our team and say, look, we got to work together. You've got to help me get this car to the finish line. Yeah, we don't want to move the headers. We got to figure out a way to help balance the car. And so it really made a lot of teams come together. And I really made, so to answer your question, and I do remember your question now, with JR was having issues. And I said, dude, be glad, first of all, you're not driving the laid back headers, because these were insane. But secondly, you'll be fine. You're going to get this. And things will come around. There were other drivers who were all over JR. He was hitting stuff and couldn't control the car, and people were saying maybe he shouldn't be in a funny car. And I just wanted to reiterate, I know how good a driver he is, and I just wanted to let him know that it was going to be okay. And sure enough, guess what? I passed the crown from 2016. Who was the next winner, world championship funny car? JR Todd.
I think JR Todd is my twin, right? We tell everyone we're either twins or we're cousins at the racetrack. We did that to one kid, and I'm walking around in the rain after, and that kid's standing there with his hood up, and he goes, "Mom, that's JR's brother." And I finally had to go over, and I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry." And his mom and dad were just laughing. I'm like, "Hey, I'm sorry. That is not really my brother. Totally playing a joke on you." But the kid obviously believed it, which it's always fun to do that. But hey, I know we talked about this before, but we're going to try to narrow it down. Will we see you possibly the Door Slammers early March before Gator Nationals in a pro stock car at the World Series of Pro Mod? We're going to try and get you
not a pro stock car. I would love to try to drive a small tire car. Yeah, I love watching that stuff. Brian Lones was down there, of course. Phil Billy, who I worked with for years, is very involved with that. Steve Jackson and all those guys. So I love watching those things, man. It just on there again. It reminds me of those years with laid back headers. I mean, those cars, you don't know if they're going to make it, even to 8th mile. You're holding your breath when they're staging the car. And there's, I sent a text to Brian Lones in the tower, and I said, I think you guys need more people standing behind the cars at the start line. There was like 80 people. I go, NHRA would flip a lid if they had that many people behind our race cars. So anyway, it's a fun to drive or fun to watch, and I'd love to give it a shot. That'd be a blast.
Can you imagine that? Ron Capps putting it in the beams.
Needs to happen. Needs to happen. Yep.
There you go.
So, Ron, look, great to have you on. It's fun always to have you on. And I think you're our first 3-time guest. So thank you for putting up with us and coming back on at Bobby's behest. Appreciate it.
You got to have Danny back on. You got to get some good questions, man. You guys missed a prime opportunity to get some really good dirt from a lot of – he's been around a lot. I know you asked him a few questions about stuff, but you guys got to hit him harder. I know it was his first. You're trying to take it easy. I know he was a little nervous. Yeah. I know Ashley even posted the stuff on there about him going on his first, but I think you need to have him back. I love Danny. I love what he does and what he does with the sport. But you guys got to hit him some good questions next time.
All right, we got to have him back. We'll have him back.
Maybe next time you'll have a couple cocktails before or during. I mean, hey, we don't judge.
It'll make a better show, right?
Right.
There you go.
Definitely. Well, Ron, again, thank you. Look forward to seeing you at Epping. Have a good evening, sir.
Yeah, hey, and if anyone needs a good Father's Day gift, check out what Ron has for Father's Day's gifts. He's got a bunch of stuff that you were signing and different things like that. So go over to his social media, check it out. Maybe get, your dad or your loved one something, some pretty cool. You got some pretty cool sweatshirts and T-shirts and everything like that. So go and check out what Ron's got on his social media for your loved ones for Father's Day. Don't forget, Father's Day is coming up. All right, Ron.
See you guys. Thanks, man.
Adios.
See, look at that. Just plugged him. Now he's going to sell another 10, 15 shirts just because some guy named Slammin Sam was on here like, hey, go and look at his shirts, blah, blah, blah.
I hope so. And then we'll have Competition Plus Power Hour t-shirts as well.
Look, Lee, all right, we're going to get this. You look at me and I'm going to look at you. So I think I look this way. If I look this way, which way? See that right there, that face with the Competition Plus logo right here that says Power Hour. What do you guys think? Like that? So I'll go like this. Boom. That's the shirt right there. So if you guys want a Competition Plus Power Hour t-shirt with Slammin Sam, and we'll be on the right sides too when when you're wearing the shirt.
I don't know how, I got to be on, like, I have to be on the left, like to the left,
right side, strong side. Just saying. And everyone knows that movie from Remember the Titans. That right there, Lee, is how we are going to shut down the show because, boom. Lee, man, you got a lot of stuff going on your show, man. You were at that race this past weekend, VRI. You've got some
Virginia International Raceway. If you have never been, maybe you're not a sports car fan, I highly recommend go to Virginia International Raceway. It's like going to a racetrack at a state park. It is spectacular. And thanks to Jason Dukes, he invited me, got me the hookup. Let me share this one story. Before we do shut down. I have not released the photos yet, but I had a very interesting moment. First sports car race ever. I've never been to a sports car race before.
Accident.
Yes, the accident. Okay. So there was a very serious flip on the front stretch at VIR in GT4. Cooper Mini went barrel rolling. Well, guess who was the only guy to get the photo sequence of what happened?
Not you.
Yes, it was me. But it's not done yet. I love how these things work out. So I get this sequence. I go to the media center. I'm looking for a bottle of water. It's a hot day. I want a bottle of water. And usually in the media center, you've got community water and snacks. No snacks, no community water. Well, I turn around, and lo and behold, guess who I see? Amanda Busick. She works that SRO Motorsports GT World Challenge as a pit reporter. She works there. So we're chatting it up. Hey, how you doing? NHRA buddies. And she's like, did you see the wild wreck? I'm like, oh, I saw it. I got it. And she's like, what do you mean that you got it? And I showed her the photos. And she's like, come with me. And we go to the other side of the tower. She goes upstairs. And when she comes back with a SRO Motorsports official. And they look at my camera. Like, yeah. They look at my camera. She did. She brought the police. He looks at my camera and he's like, come with me. And before long, I had 6 officials, including the CEO and the president, looking at my camera and what I got because no one knew how it started. And I literally had the start of the wreck where you can see this Mini Cooper launching off of a BMW.
Probably a badass picture. So how big was your head after that moment is the real question. So let's be honest. You can see the snaps in my hat right here. Lee's just got that thing, and it is taken.
It blew off. It blew off. No, man. Look, man. Honestly, such a interesting moment to have that happen. And honestly, I was very glad. You know, sometimes you interact with some tracks sanctioning bodies, and they look at media almost as a nuisance. And that's the wrong mentality to have. And here was a situation where I, as a media individual, was a part of the program. I was essential to figuring out how this wreck happened. And I thought that would be fascinating. Lou, I would like to share it. I do plan on sharing it, but I sent that photo sequence to the CEO, the president, and I also said that I wanted to wait until the driver's out of the hospital. He was actually airlifted. He was conscious, he was alert, but they did actually airlift him to the hospital. So until at the time he's released and he's A-okay, that I don't want to release that sequence, but I will eventually.
Lee, and that's one thing that you and I talked about many a times. that is the one thing we want to do as media people, as, voices of racing, and everything like that. We want to respect the drivers. We take pictures, we see rollovers and accidents all the time. We want to respect the drivers and their families. Perfect example is a good friend of mine, Jeff Lutz. Clay and I talked about it in Houston. I saw pictures before Jeff's wife found out.
Right.
Like, that's how quick those photos get released. Is that people want to be the first one to report that stuff, but you have to take in consideration those people's family. Let them, let the driver be okay, and let him at least acknowledge his family and let them know what's going on, or he or she or the crew know what's going on before you guys start posting pictures of things. I mean, that's like common courtesy rule number one. Like, yes. I mean, so I know you and I talked about it, Lee, and that's awesome. Again, shout out to the Jason Dukes, Captain's Chair Coaching, for hooking you up. I know he had messaged, he's a great friend of mine, and he had messaged me about getting in contact with you. So that's what it's all about, is making these contacts of friends and people in this industry. So it was awesome to see, and I'm happy you got to experience that.
Definitely,
I'll
man.
be going.
Hey, I was glad to be right back here on Competition Plus Power Hour with Slammin Sam.
Wow, that means a lot. So there, I'll give you one of these. I'll give you a heart.
Care Bear.
Yeah. You guys don't understand. We look forward to every Tuesday yakking it up with you guys. Seriously, we're begging you guys. Please let us know if you guys want a t-shirt, because we will hound the boss man, Bobby Bennett, to get you guys a Power Hour t-shirt to wear around the pits, to let everyone know where you're yakking up your Tuesdays and spending your times with us for an hour, sometimes 2 hours, depends on how long we go. Lee?
Dude, I didn't catch this, but apparently all the other posting that Ashley was making and everything, that was Danny Hood's first time on a live show. I didn't realize that. That was cool.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to go back.
Right here, Competition Plus Power Hour.
Hey, man, we're breaking bread here, man. We're taking the training wheels off. We're doing pretty cool things, Lee, and it's cool to see. Yeah. Like I said, people notice me in the pits and they're like, "Hey, where's Lee?" I'm like, sometimes we're together, sometimes we're not. I mean, Lee, I know you go to more events than I do, but you know what? We appreciate you guys saying hi. We appreciate you guys tuning in every Tuesday. We appreciate you guys' comments. But do us a favor. If you guys want Jeff Arend to answer a question, please. It is PowerHourCP. PowerHourCP@gmail.com. You can get a hold of us. We will email you back. We read each and every one of those emails. So again, PowerHourCP@gmail.com. Lee doesn't do that part. I handle that part. But I do say from Slammin Sam and Lee, because we're one. But again, Lee, the Monday Morning Racer, what do you got going on your show, man?
I have no clue. I do not have a guest yet. We'll figure that out.
I agree. I might have some local racers. We had a couple of accidents where now racers are starting to believe in safety equipment. And that's one thing that Outlaw Performance ENT and Mad Bro Motorsports, my other business, that we talk about a lot is safety. So I think I'm going to have him on and talk about head and neck restraints and play a couple of videos that I have with chiropractors talking about those. Guys and girls out there, be safe. Check out the Monday Morning Racer. Check out Competition Plus Apparel. Check out Outlaw Performance ENT. And Lee, another great thing. Guess what?
What?
I might be driving a wingless sprint car.
I want to see it.
I made a challenge to someone, and they said, "Hey, we got an extra one if you really want to jump in." So I got both of my race suits sitting right here. I got everything pulled out, and
let me know. I need to come film it. If you race it, let me know so I can come film it.
It won't be this week. It'll be next week. So if you want to come up to North Dakota, exactly. I'm gonna put 2 GoPros in the car with me. Okay. I'm gonna put a forward angle and a rear angle. So if you guys want to see Slammin Sam in a circle track car,
no. Did I say that? I did.
Show's over. Good night. We love you. Bye.
Peace out, everybody.